This day in Black history, March 13th. On this day in 1865, less than a month before the end of hostilities in Virginia, legislation was passed by the Confederate Congress allowing enslaved African Americans to be mustered and equipped on an experimental basis as combat soldiers, a groundbreaking departure from previous laws that restricted their involvement in combat roles. Prior to this date, Confederate law explicitly stated that only white men were permitted to serve as soldiers, while African Americans were relegated to support roles such as cooks, laborers, and nurses, barred by law from being armed and serving in combat roles despite being subject to involuntary military service. Moving forward to March 13, 1957, we honor the pioneering achievements of John W. Lee, who became the first black commissioned officer in the U.S. Navy assigned to duty. However, Lee's groundbreaking achievement was not without precedent, as we reflect on the integration efforts during World War II, particularly during the Battle of the Bulge in December 1944, when over 5,000 African American soldiers in the Army's service units volunteered to fight alongside white troops. After rigorous training, 2,500 black troops were integrated into white units, forming the first and only example of an integrated Army fighting force in World War II, thanks to the suggestion of General John C. Lee and the approval of General Dwight D. Eisenhower. Despite the success of this experiment and the commendation of white officers on the performance of black soldiers, the Army withheld a favorable survey on the integration of its troops, fearing it would undermine political support for a post-war peacetime draft. Both events involved black men finally being allowed to fight for their country, even though the circumstances were totally different. The Confederacy only considered it as a last resort. While integration efforts and John Lee's achievement marked a huge step forward for equality in the military, but both stories highlight the bravery of black men willing to fight for a nation that hadn't always treated them fairly. Let us honor and remember the bravery and sacrifice of these black soldiers who fought for their country, paving the way for future generations and contributing to the ongoing struggle for equality and justice.